We are joined by Darren Webster-Clarke, who has coached multiple tour winners, notable names like Alex Noren, Bjorn, Soren Hansen, Richard Green, just to name a few. And today gives me a new way of thinking about my head position.
Look at the head.
And an extra bonus really, about how to use the ground better.
Now this looks different. What about that?
I'm back to more centered.
I saw so much more distance with driver, and to be honest, I have never been given a tip like this that just allowed my swing to click so quickly.
And more importantly, I feel more accurate.
And yes, you can do this too.
And again, was that something you'd recommend to all golfers, be really aware of what's happening down here?
Without a question.
Let's get into the lesson.
I'm not going to say no to a few yards, but accuracy, I think, is a big thing.
Yeah, I think with the driver, it spreads through your game. If you can get off the tee well, find the fairway, then you can start to score. The worst thing is finding trouble off the tee and then your back's against the wall straight away. So yeah, priority, I think, let's find the fairway first. Working with the tour players, they've got to hit it a long way. There's no way they're going to succeed out there unless they hit it.
I'd like to say I'm a tour player, and we're talking something that's very different today.
But you want to enjoy your game, and I think if you've got the power in there, let's just try and find the fairway. Let's get it into play, and
then maybe build power from there as well.
Build power from there.
So do you want me to just hit a few, just to
hit a few. Let's
going?
See what numbers we get. We can use the swing catalyst. We're going to video a few swings. We got the TrackMan, so we got all the data.
Is that okay there?
That's perfect there.
That felt pretty good for me.
I was going to say, I don't think you want that back, do you?
No, but like I'm quite happy seeing that shape.
That little shape, yes.
Yeah, that for me is like, if I hit down the first and I can aim down the left half and hit that shape, I am over the moon. That felt a little more toe side, hence why it went a little straighter. Felt like here, that one. But if I start hitting one like that, I mean, it's probably actually, this is quite interesting. That felt toe side, but you might tell me that was more middle. I quite like finding the heel because I fear the toe.
That's right. So you're feeling your proprioception, what is square with that club face.
What do you think to my club speed? That's 110, is that?
I mean, I worked with Kristofer Broberg, who won one of the World Championships. Yeah. He was at 114. I mean, a solid player, but maxed everything out. Maxed everything out. Got great distance on it. So it's not as though he got massive club speed that everybody's searching for this incredible club speed. You can still compete.
That wasn't so good.
If you're looking to get more speed out of it, what would you do?
Personally, I'm probably maxed out near enough there without throwing myself at it. I mean, the only thing I would do is I would maybe feel like I jump out of the way of it a little more, but if I did that personally, I would get so inaccurate.
I'll tell you what, just give me one now. Give me two actually, Alex, where we do feel that you really give everything.
I would maybe feel I start the swing a little faster as well.
Yes, I mean that's what you tend to see is that the guys who are hitting a bit further do have a bit more speed in the takeaway. I
would also probably try and feel like, bizarrely, if someone said to me max it out, I would like to start here and hover it above the ball a little bit as well. I mean, I would never dream of doing that one. I mean, I got to 113.
Yeah, and this is where we've got to be careful. Obviously, you don't want to see that on a golf course. But it'd be interesting when we look at your swing, how much of a difference it is and what are the differences. It's always good to see what your maximum club speed is as well. There's going to be certain holes where it is wide and you think, you know what, I need to just let this go. And it's good understanding that you've got more in the tank.
That was it pretty good for me. And that's a big jump up for me in terms of ball speed. That's a bit more of a jump. Ball speed there was 167. I mean, before we were touching 159, 160. Right, let's have a look at this then.
So straight away, yeah, you mentioned your ball speed, and you can see that's a big jump.
Yeah. But I just feel like I couldn't tell you where I was going to go, whereas I would say my game is built around being safe.
Yes, you want to be putting the thing in play. But it's interesting for me to see, because unfortunately we're not getting younger, so we need to maintain
Well, now I'm in that category now. Now I'm 30, I'm in that category now.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm talking more from my own experience. But what we're going to try and do is maintain some good speed work in your practice, especially with your driver.
Interesting.
Yeah, just try and find the fairway, sure. But what I'd like you to do is make sure you've still got that athletic movement.
And would you recommend that for all golfers?
Yeah, I would actually, because what I see is people aren't coming in here getting. Yes, we try and max the speed out, and then you can look at, we talked about earlier, nutrition and fitness and all those boring things. But we've got to look at those incremental improvements that we can get. So I always like to see, okay, what's the max of a player? And then hopefully from what you had as a ball speed and the club speed, if we can improve that just with your normal swing, then we're on to a winner. So let's have a look at the swing catalyst.
So normal speed around 155, 160 is roughly where we were there.
Yes.
As an average. my top ones there were 167. So I guess if we can get above the 160 on a normal swing, that would be a good marker.
Generally, because I think then you're going to be carrying those bunkers that are just built there to catch you. So I'd like to see you going over those.
Okay, here we go.
So this was the power one. So
Okay.
just take a look first of all at this.
So when you're doing this now, in terms of like lines on the swing and people, just thinking like how this could help somebody else as well, is there anything that you look for?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I was very fortunate. I spent a lot of time with Mac O'Grady, and he was very much about being centred and really the eye line and the importance of. What I'd do first of all is you're probably right eye dominant. We've not sort of checked that, but there's your eye position. Now this was your one where you're really going for it. So you can see there's a bit of it. Your eyes have moved off the ball, so you just got to recalibrate that. But then here's the interesting thing: you sort of back into position. But there has been some sort of variant there. So that's one thing I'd look at, how much the head is moving. And with some players, it's quite considerable. Okay. Now, we don't want to be so static because we want to try and get some power. But I'd look at this, and then I compare that to your...
So this is now my, what we're calling stock?
Yeah, this is your stock shot.
You're about to say safe there, aren't you?
I'll say stock. So let's just pop that right eye on. Let's see if we get... So there's always a little bit of a shift away, which is fine. And we spoke earlier about the swing cap plates. They're really good just to really find out what is happening. But as I'm looking at this now, for me, I want to see some sort of pressure building up in this left side. And I'm looking at it. Now you're trying to play a fade.
Yeah.
And you can see that we're just opening up a little bit. I'm not really seeing a shift into that left leg here. So that's where I think we could improve without you having to feel you're jumping all over.
Okay.
What I like to see is more of a feeling from the top of your swing into that left side. You see great swings. I mean, Sam Snead, I love looking at that, and you see this squat look. Now, when I was speaking to Mac, he told me about the conversation he had with Sam Snead. Now, Sam Snead felt from the top of his backswing, he was already straightening his leg. But he did this movement first before he straightened. Now, for me, looking at that, I'm not seeing enough happening with your legs.
Do you think that's because in the past I've been scared of sliding into the ball? So
you
I've
mentioned that at the beginning, didn't you? So I think that is you trying to protect it. You've already said you're trying to see a fade.
Yeah.
So you're not really wanting to get too aggressive. You're just putting the club into position and swinging. Now that's all right, but when the pressure gets higher, that's when it can lead into difficult shots. Well, so I'd love to sort of get the legs working a little bit more efficiently.
Because I do feel like if I'm also under pressure, I probably should have mentioned this before, like I talked about the left shot, but also that high right. I mean, I hit one of them before. I am capable of that as well.
Right. Let's have a look at that. Because again, I'll be looking at, you sort of...
Basically, I got a two-way miss.
Which is never nice, is it?
No.
But what I also look for, I mean, angles for me is really important. Getting a nice geometry of your golf swing. And I'd start looking here where your sort of shaft's coming down. And you can see there, you're really redirecting your club back onto the ball. Start coming too much underneath. So
that's a good position to be in.
That's a good position. Okay. It's a nice neutral position. Now coming through, I like to see this. Now with an iron, the difference is I'd like you to stay on that line and sort of exit. But with a driver, we do want to be seeing more of a higher release.
And why is that for people watching right now?
It's so that what we're doing is whenever we go in left, we tend to have this sort of swing direction, which is we're hitting down on the ball. But with a driver, because we're hitting more up, we're going to release through the ball. The exit path is going to be a lot more what we call centrifugal, CF path. It's going to be more out this way. An iron, you're coming more down and around. So it's a different swing. People say, my iron's a different swing driver. It needs to be a different swing.
And it's interesting that, because I think a lot of people that I see that get a lot of questions here on YouTube saying about how do I exit more left with driver. In reality, that's probably not what they want to do. They obviously heard this terminology with irons and just thought a blanket statement that it needs to be the same. But that's a really interesting point there. So could you show that again, just so people...
Yeah, well, as I say, with an iron, I feel you're coming down and you'll almost feel the pressure points in your arms and everything sort of exit this way. But I think with a driver, because of the forces, everything's pulling you out as well. We've got to let it go, and it is going to be much more this way. We're hitting up on the ball, so your body's working up this way also, and that's throwing the hands more here.
Do that help people square the club face as well, being more in that place?
Yes.
Which again, if you're looking at club golfer, that's a really hard thing to do.
But we talk about the lines and just looking at it. I mean, unfortunately, my plates aren't in today, so we can't really see what's happening with your feet, the pressure you're getting. But from my knowledge of it, I'm really looking at that left side. We're not really pushing at all.
No.
You see with this left leg?
Yeah.
It's not raising. Now you look at a player like Deschambault. He did some work, obviously, on the swing catalyst plates, and really looking now at getting into that left side, but then pushing up out of it. Because what happens is you start to get, I mean, you'll feel it on some tournaments as well, when you really feel, oh, just let go.
Yeah.
You hit some great drives.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes that tentativeness that really
That's how I
holds you
play
back.
golf. That's really how I play golf.
So I'd like to see probably just that feeling of down and up. Now what I'm interested now is, let's have a little look at your power swings.
This is the one where I gave everything at it.
Yeah, you gave everything at it, but I want to see what's happening with your legs. It actually looks like you're working your legs a little bit more there. I'm primarily looking at your left side. But then this is, yeah, you're not really pushing up out of the ground. I think, looking at, I mean, we've only seen a few shots, but straight away, what I'd like to see is a lot more in and out.
Okay.
So that you're into the shot and then out. So you're just releasing the club a lot more effectively.
So what would I do to feel that? Like, what's a great way for me to sort of get that sensation?
So what we could do here is actually feel you're going to put pressure in your left side. As soon as you start your downswing, in fact, to be honest, before you've even got to the top of your backswing, you almost feel you're going down and then get up out of the way.
That's a lot more aggressive than...
It's a lot more aggressive, but if I look at your... So these were your sort of stock shots.
Yeah.
And then the last one was really where you went to it. But 1.8 into out, it's not out there. No. So it's not as though we suddenly really... I think it probably would have been... Let's have a look where you hit it on the club face. It wasn't out of the toe where you were expecting it to
and
be.
This is what I mean. I think my perception is I like to find heel because it's a comfort factor.
Yeah, I'm just looking through a few of these now. Yeah, you do get a few out of the heel.
And just to show you here, this will be the centre line here. So you can sort of see how this is sort of slightly heel side. That being probably where this T-peg is middle.
And that's going to give you that little bit of a fade, which is what you
which
like.
Is probably like contributing to, and I found a middle, quite a big jump up in ball speed.
Tell you what, let's see what happens when we feel that. I mean, that's the great thing about coming indoors, using the tech.
Yeah, I'm going to try and feel as I'm getting, I'm thinking in my head here, as my hands are sort of passing my shoulder, I'm going to be a lot more this way.
Yeah. Do you know what? I like to see athletic golf swings.
That feels totally different.
So you're going to put pressure in, and then you're really going to feel it's almost when you've got in. You mentioned earlier when you're trying to hit a big shot, which we can see with Scotty Scheffler. It's that left foot's getting out of the way, which has really just changed everybody's thoughts on what happens with the footwork. But I used to look at Greg Norman, his footwork, and you start seeing similarities. But what I'd like you to feel is almost that sensation. You don't have to pull it back, but I want you to go down and feel you really coming back out of it. Now, hopefully, because you now start thinking more about your legs and the strike, the hands and arms will start taking care and will not have any sort of saving required.
My whole golf game.
You just try it. So really put pressure into this left side. It'll feel strange, but give it a go.
Oh, that was so at the heel. As a club golfer, this would be something they could do to try and ramp up some speed themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Now, your path was a bit wild there, 10 degrees.
No, I did feel like I just did all sorts, if I'm honest with you.
Did you?
Yeah, massive. Yeah, I did feel like the club head twisted.
And the reason for it is obviously the club's been pulled further away now. There's more force has been applied to it. And you can see the difference in your arms. But let's have a look at you. Now, this looks different. What about that?
That looks totally different.
That looks athletic.
You're going back to being more centred and back to more centred.
Now look. Now when we start drawing a line up here, look how you're into that left side. That's beautiful. That is really good. I mean, I brought up just looking at a lot of the old swings because that's how we learnt as pros and coaches, just looking at video clips or books really more than anything. I mean, it's a different world now, but look how you're moving up through there. I mean, the old movement there is so athletic. Yes, you've not hit that well. You've hit it terribly out of the heel. But when I'm looking at the body now, I think, so what's that? That's just a setup issue. Let's just get you setting up more athletic as well. But I love the leg work there, Alex.
Okay, so that felt really aggressive, that.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
So set
Honestly,
up differently.
yeah.
What you
set up? Just feel you got a little. You're just stretching a little bit. Tee it up out the toe a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's different because you're always wanting to go out the heel. You're
know.
worried about that shot.
Yeah.
And rightly so. But let's just see what you're capable of.
That feels so far away from the ball.
Now, what we've got to remember is the forces are pulling us. They're pulling you out here. You're getting pulled out there.
And again, for a club golfer,
more force.
would you suggest just for driver as a rule of thumb, address water toe in the middle?
Yeah, you've got to be careful because you've, as you say, a lot of players catch out the toe and get the duck hooks going. But what I do, if you just set up there, we don't actually hit the ground, do we?
No.
What happens is the club's actually raised when you hit it. Now look how it's coming away.
Yeah. Ah.
So if you're slightly out of the toe, if we can get that optimum, you're going to be about here anyway. So I think just slightly maybe setting up out of the toe. It all depends on the player, sure. So I mean, we've got to be careful.
Could you show us that again, just so everybody can see that?
Yes, I mean, you've set out of the toe on the ground, but we know the club's going to come up, and now look, it goes away. We spoke earlier, didn't we, about the baseball swing? And where's the club going? It's going further and further away from us. So I think for you, rather than you setting up out of the heel, the safe sort of shot that you've got, and invariably, that last one we came even more out of the heel. I think if we just set up about here, and it's to experiment. Just doing a few millimetres.
And just edge it and try it.
Just edge it, find it. I think if we find the centre of the club face with the movement you've got now, you're really going to enjoy it.
I feel so far away from the ball.
Now, feel athletic, feel your legs are engaged, down and then up.
That felt pretty good at the middle. 114 club head speed there.
Massive club head speed.
And 167 ball speed. And I actually didn't feel like I was going to be out of control there. And I'm also seeing carry-wise, I wouldn't get over 260 before. That's 275.
Yeah, and that's what I talked about earlier. I mean, bunkers are going to be set up in certain positions.
That felt really good. Like that felt. The reason I set out the middle, being honest, it felt slightly toe, but I know that's just my head thinking that. Oh, look at that there.
You look, and again, that's your perception.
Yeah.
But you get used to it.
Is that better?
It is better. You can do more with this left side.
Okay, we'll try one more.
Come on, really give me a... But look how you're extending the left leg now. That's a difference. You're now pushing off the ground. One thing we know with ground reaction forces, I mean, it's a big buzzword now. Everybody's talking about it. So basically, what we see is that you've got a right to left movement. As you know, if throwing a ball, you're going to go right to left. You've got a turning movement as well, because we're turning. That's why we stand to the side of the ball, so we can turn. But then you've also got that vertical push. Now, I feel in your swing, you've got the turn going, but you've not got the vertical. So I want to see now is, yes, you were scared of moving too far, and I agree that you don't want to overdo that. I'd like to turn that down. But as soon as we moved into that left side, turn, but then really feel this extension.
So from the top, just to so everybody could get something from this as well, like I'm trying to feel like it's down and then almost like up in that direction.
Yes. That's the feeling.
And you said a minute ago that I really like that idea of, and that's what I was feeling myself, is try and feel it as your hands are still working back.
Yeah, you almost feel that as you're going back this way, you've almost set everything in motion, and then everything's just going to fly through. The way it's movement, you move off the ball, you've got your little trigger. So we'd see, is that helping us? But yeah, you can have your feet moving, but I wouldn't want the head to be moving too much.
How was it on that last one? Better?
Let's have a look. I mean, but it's one of those things. It could be something you always do.
Joyce, it's not something I've never noticed. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I've sort of...
You see there, that big sway?
Yeah.
So if I was looking at that, I'd be thinking, well, do
I hate
want to
that.
sway that much? If we look at, let's just say...
For me, like if I was giving someone a lesson myself, like I'd be like,
you'd be all over it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd be like, let's tone that right down. And this is some home truths here for me today. This is Justin Rose, right?
Yeah, this is Justin Rose. Unfortunately, this video is a little bit dark on the first one, but so he's got a shift.
Doesn't move much after his shift. Doesn't move. Okay, right. I've got it in my head here.
But you can see that left leg.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to picture this.
Yes. So you're into the left side. So you can almost see the distance this left leg is going to travel. That's where it is at the top of the swing. But now he's got that there.
Okay.
Now, I didn't feel you had enough of that when we started. But now he's really got the forces into the left side. And you can really start pushing up through the ground.
Right, I'm going to really try and feel a little more centred over this. Through that backswing, I'm going to try and stop excess of that. Right, so I'm out the toe. Got that feel. Yeah, I towed that. Let me have another go at that. I feel like I've got it. I've got a good picture in my mind of what I'm trying to do. And I think that's a big thing. Like, I think if you get lessons from anybody, like having sort of a good picture in your mind of what a coach is asking you to do, that's literally half the battle.
It's like your feet. Just be aware of what they're doing in the ground. Really feel you're gripping, you're moving.
And again, that was something you'd recommend to all golfers, be really aware of what's happening down here.
Without a question. I mean, it's all start. I mean, when you look at all the great players, the footwork was great, the leg work was, it all starts from the ground up. And I think too many of us get stuck in trying to just put the club into position and we miss out what the feet should be doing. So yeah, if you can start feeling your feet in the ground, feeling how you're gripping and turning, everything's winding up, that feeling of connection and then really exploding, I think that's a massive aid to anybody that's really wanting to improve.
That felt so good. I mean, that was it for me. That felt really athletic.
That was a great shot. And look at your distance, your carry distance there. We're nearly up at 280, 300, and look at your speed, 114. But more importantly, the accuracy.
I know, I don't feel like I was going to be like ridiculously inaccurate with that one.
No.
I actually edged a little further away than I would normally stand from the golf ball, and I still addressed it out the toe. And what I did really, really concentrate on there was not having that little shift. And actually, that actually felt like I had a better chance of getting this move.
Yes.
Because before, without knowing, this felt like, oh my God, I've got a long way to go to get what you're showing me on Justin Rose. Whereas that there was...
Yeah, and for me personally, what I like about not moving off the ball too much, because what I see in players, if they move off, the weight goes to the outside of the right foot. Whereas what we're trying to do is almost feel your big toe is gripping the ground. Imagine throwing a ball, you wouldn't go onto your heel.
No.
You'd sort of feel your big toe actually gripping the ground. I mean, anybody can stand there and hold the ball. Imagine you'd feel that right big toe really holding, and that really strengthens all the inside of your leg that you can use your
So if someone swayed off, that's a great one for them to think about.
Yeah, just focus on your big toe. Is that big toe staying on the ground? Or a lot of people, it rolls, and then they're trying to create power from there, which is extremely difficult.
Can we have a look at that swing?
Certainly.
That's a really nice little tip there for you as well. That felt honestly really, really good, that swing. I'm actually, sounds really praise, but I'm really actually impressed with myself being able to get this carry up. And more importantly, I feel more accurate, which is, I would never thought I would say that. Before, I felt like I was nursing it, and it was me going, okay, because I've played golf since I was young, I know and understand what I've got to do in my hands to move this club and square that face. Whereas there, I wasn't really bothered, or even, to be honest with you, I wasn't even thinking about hitting a shot.
And I think that's where the enjoyment comes back in. Because the enjoyment is hitting one out there.
Yeah.
The problem is when we start getting fearful, and then that's where the psychologies come into it, and just trying to get you to play free.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw in that swing. You actually just let it go.
Yeah.
And you should be, I mean, the power of your swing, you should be really putting it out there. I mean, they're great numbers. Let's have a look at the swing.
That's
now,
better.
Look at the head. So there's a marked improvement there if we just sort of put the line on where you start. Now your brain's not having to panic because you've not moved off. Your eyes aren't having to recalibrate the distance. What I do like about it, now you can really squat into that shot. So you can see now you've got this downward pressure and your legs are stable. This looks marvellous.
Mad.
It really is good, and then you're in a beautiful position. You can see your delivery's not changed. You were worried about where you're hitting it from your setup, but now look at that, that's pure. Your left leg's now starting to straighten, and look at the push-up off the ground there. You're actually up off the ground, you can see it.
My left leg's actually off the ground. That's crazy. I never thought I would. I mean, in my mind, I feel like I'm swinging like Bryson. Well, thank you so much.
Alex, a pleasure.
That was class. No, thank you so much for that.
It's good, that.
My swing thoughts, this is what they're going to be. Stay more centred, and then the address points of being a little further away, more out the toe, and then all I'm going to feel is that down and push out.
Yeah, definitely.
Easy as that. And I'll leave the link down here below, not only to Zen Green Stage, but also Darren as well, because yeah, I really enjoyed that, and hopefully you can see the improvements there for yourself. Thanks for watching.